Okay, so hello everyone. We are looking at another round of unpacking the N-level SS paper. We are looking at unpacking the 2017 SS SRQ. Okay, again, the tips when we are looking at a question, we are looking at using a few strategies. It could be framing your mind to look at reasons. When we look at economic reasons, social reasons, political reasons, we can also look at the circle of influence. All right, these are some of the examples when we use circle of influence. Some of the examples that you can quote, okay? Government, community, as well as the individual. All right, for B question, the 8 marks question is definitely from your own knowledge, if you can remember. But the extracts are supposed to help you frame your mind as well as trigger and sort of remember some content that was discussed during lessons. Okay, now for the 2017 SS paper, it was really on issue 1, citizenship and governance. So sometimes extracts can be a picture with a bit of text. It can be a table of information, an infograph. It could be a diagram. It could be anything, in fact. Okay, now in this extracts, it talks a little bit about the quality of pioneer leaders. And in this small extract, it actually talks about how our prime minister actually was talking about the challenge of being a leader. Sometimes it is the discussions in class that you can pick up and you can remember. So always go back to whatever information that was being shared with you during lessons. All right, so let's go back to the question. Extract 1 explains the importance of having good leaders in government. And in your opinion, what personal qualities? So now for 2017, it was quite unique where when we approach this question, is obviously not using the circle of influence method. Okay, because we're asking for qualities. So this definitely is not about a strategy kind of question. You can also use the economic, political, social kind of reasoning here. So for this question, it literally looks at features or qualities or personality types, right? I think despite it being not the normal kind of SRQ question, I think it's quite easy because you're looking at personal qualities. So what are the personal qualities? Definitely, for this example, it is about maybe a leader who is able to anticipate the future, maybe make decisions really under a lot of stress. So always answer the question. You can also talk about the quality and then link it to an example that is relevant. So for this particular question, I looked at using the integrated resort because when it was actually being announced that Singapore was going to have an integrated resort, there were some people who were unhappy because they knew what was the outcome, that you could have positive impact, but at the same time there were many very clear negative impacts. Okay, so the examples, if you could give as specific as possible, it's definitely going to help in your essay writing. All right, so because the quality was to make decisions under stress, so it's definitely about how the example showed that the government was able to balance such a difficult decision and to sort of look ahead, what could actually be the problem or the opportunities that Singapore could have. All right, you can give as many examples in your answer. The more examples the better, but just make sure that you time yourself, nothing beyond 30 minutes when you do SRQ. Okay, and link back to the question. So this shows that the leaders have to have the capability to balance the interests of the nation. Someone who would predict and safeguard the future of Singaporeans, make hard decisions for the benefit of the country. Right? Why would this quality be important for a leader in Singapore? So always remember your examples must link back to the question. Okay, now extracts 2 and extracts 3, just a reminder, they are meant to help you remember some points, but you need to give examples. Okay, so for example, even if let's say you forget about what is an individual role, what is a NGO's role, for example. All right, you could actually go back to the extracts, take a look, make some meaning towards what is volunteering, some examples that you remember about volunteering, some examples of a group-based volunteering or meeting the needs of the society. Okay, let's look at the question and unpack. Extracts 2 and 3 are about the part played by individuals and organized groups. Okay, so that's why I was like telling you, extracts 3, go back to some of these things and unpack and try to remember. Never leave any questions blank. At least, if you could attempt at least one very solid paragraph, you could have gotten that marks. Out of 8 marks, maybe a 5, a 4, it's possible. Okay, now explain how they helped in working for the good of society. So the idea here when we unpack is, what is the good of society? So even if, let's say, you're stuck, you can always start with a definition. What is the good of society? And try to remember what is the role played by individuals, as well as what is the role played by organized groups. I chose the examples of how individuals can play a part by contributing to the less fortunate. Because of the COVID-19 situation, there were many examples of how individuals actually step up to help society, groups of society. I chose the story about Beng Who Cooks. There is a link here to go to read a little bit about them. Okay, and why is it that they're able to contribute to society? Because it helps to lessen the burden of those in need. And this actually is how this particular individual or individuals actually played a part. Okay, other examples could be your NGOs for organized group. It could be Mercy Relieved. It could be the Environment Society, anything. But for this particular example, because I decided to choose this particular NGO that works into helping people with disabilities to find jobs. Okay, so organized groups raise awareness on issues that sometimes the government may not take it up very strongly. All right, so this is the role of organized groups to raise this awareness. SG and ABLE. So this is what the SG and ABLE does. And then why would this then help? It raises awareness about these groups of people, encourages the government then to pass laws. So sometimes if your organized groups are effective and your organized group is good, or has some sort of a bit more influence, it definitely will help in the government making the decision to, for example, pass certain laws that would help this particular groups of people to benefit. All right, so just make sure, if you look very carefully at how this essay is being framed, there is the what, the how, and the why. Okay, so I hope this particular video has been helpful in unpacking the SRQ question.